Hey guys, Mr. Roden here. I'm not here with you guys today, but I'm kind of here with you. I'm here the day before, and just wanted to teach a lesson today. Got a lot of kind of different goals in today's lesson. So let's just take a look at the learning target and the agenda, and then we'll go from there. Sound good? Cool. All right. So our learning target today is I can classify angles to solve problems. And if you kind of were paying attention on Wednesday, you would remember that that's the same learning target we had then also. So we're going to practice more stuff because we want you to do well on the 5.1 Delta Math assignment that's due tonight if you're watching this at 11:59 p.m. And there are no late submissions on this. So if you don't do it, you get a 0. And no one wants a 0 because zeros are bad. So make sure that you listen carefully because this can help you do well on that assignment. Also, today's lesson is going to help you get a higher grade on the 1.3, 1.4 quiz. A lot of you said you struggled and you were going to email me and you wanted to retake it. And besides, so what we decided to do is instead of just doing a bunch of retakes, we're going to give you an opportunity to add some points, extra credit points to that test. So I'll let you guys know about that at the very end. Okay, sound good? So our lessons, let me get this here. So our learning target, same learning target we had on Wednesday. Good things. My good thing is that it's Thanksgiving break, and that after break, I am going to be able to teach from home. And I really will enjoy that because the reason I'm going to enjoy it is my daughter is a senior in high school, and she's also going to be at home because she's quarantined in her high school also. And so the cool thing is we can have lunch every day. So we have that hour lunch, and I'm going to look forward to having lunch with my senior daughter because she's going away to college next year. So I'm really looking forward to having lunch with my daughter every day next while we're on remote learning. Now, is she looking forward to having me have lunch with her? I don't know. But I don't really care because I'm looking forward to it. All right. I do care, but I think we'll really enjoy each other's time. So that'll be pretty cool. Okay, talk about the homework bucket. Well, the homework bucket, how about we do this last? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the homework bucket last. So don't let me forget to talk about the homework bucket last, okay? Because that is going to be very, very important. All right. So now let's do the warm-up. Now, the purpose of this warm-up is to help practice for this extra points opportunity. So what I did was I found lots of problems that were very similar to this extra points opportunity. And what I want you to do, so consider this almost like a reteaching. This warm-up is almost like a reteaching. It's like a reteaching of the 1.4, or sorry, let me go in order here. 1.3/1.4 quiz. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these. I'm going to reteach you that stuff, and then that should prepare you for the extra points opportunity that you can take. But do not start the extra points opportunity until after this entire lesson. Cool? All right, so let's give it a try. So on that, this is warm-up number 1. On that quiz, some of you may have struggled a little bit with the wording or whatever. So this is going to be just straight up solving equations and putting answers in, okay? Now, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So number 1, I want to solve for x. And this is coming from section 1.3, variables on both sides, right? Solving equations with variables on both sides. Now, I kind of have my little way of doing it that I had you guys do it in your notes. And it's just my method, and I found this to be easiest. So what I say to myself is, okay, so do I have any distributive property? No, there's no distributive property. Can I combine, and the reason we don't have distributive property is there's no parentheses, right? Distributive property deals with parentheses. And we'll see one that actually will have some distributive property in here. Can I combine like terms on either side, the left or the right side? Can I combine like terms? Well, no, because you have negative 3x. There's nothing to combine to the negative 3x on the left side. Remember, we're only just talking about combining on each side. Now, can I combine 2x and 19? No way. That's just crazy talk, right? You can't combine something with an x and not an x. That's just crazy. Okay, so the next step is going to be, okay, I want to get variables all on one side. Now, I, Mr. Roden, am a big fan of attacking the weaker variable. Well, which one is weaker, negative 3x or positive 2x? Well, negatives are always weaker than positives. So I am simply just going to add 3x to both sides because I want to get rid of it. I want to make it into a 0. Well, if you have negative 3x and you add 3x, what do you get? Well, yeah, you get 0. And since I don't have anything on the left side, I need to actually put the 0 there. And that's okay. If I don't have anything there, remember those just add up to 0. I have to have something there. And if there's nothing on the left side, I'm going to put a 0 there. And it's not going to stay there for very long. It's just temporarily going to be there. So let's do the math here. So now I have 2x plus 3x gives me 5x. And I still have the plus 19. Now I'm going to solve. I'm going to get rid of all addition and subtraction. I'm going to get rid of all addition and subtraction. Well, what's being added or subtracted to the x? Well, I'm adding 19. So now I'm going to subtract 19. I'm going to subtract 19 from both sides. Okay. So what would happen next? Well, if I take 0 and subtract 19, I get a negative 19 equals 5x. Now, I'm not done yet because now I have to solve for x. Well, this is 5 times x, so now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Both sides by 5. And my final answer that I want to put into Schoology is x equals negative 19 over 5. Now, I will say this. When you're in Schoology, now listen carefully to me. Do not enter it in like this in Schoology, okay? Some of you are missing answers just because you're getting it correctly. You're getting it correct, but you're not putting it incorrect. Schoology only wants this part. So in the little blank in Schoology, they don't need the x equals. We already know you solve for x. You're going to put in negative 19 over 5. And you just use the little slash key where the question mark is next to the shift key on the bottom right. That's all you're going to put in. Do not put in x equals. Okay, the x equals is already up here waiting for you. All you need is the answer. Does everyone understand that? Do not put in x equals, just put in the answer. So you're only putting in the answer, not the x equals. And delta math is that way also. So hopefully you're starting to get used to that. All right, number 2. Now, your job is to pause the video, and I think you'll probably be with Mr. Sansoni at this time. And so hopefully Mr. Sansoni, if he sees you, hopefully you're pausing the video, and you're going to do this one on your own, okay? So see if you can do this one on your own. And then pause me, and then I'll go through it and see if you got it right. Okay, pause the video. Hey, welcome back. So now we're going to go ahead and go through this. All right, so do we have any distributive property? No parentheses. Can I take 3x? This is the left side, and this is the right side. On the left side, can I combine 3x minus 4x? No way. Can I combine negative 7x minus 4x? No way. Okay, so next thing is I'm going to attack the weaker variable, right? Well, which one is weaker? Well, it's a kind of a tie, right? So hold on. All right, guys. So, sorry about that. So what I realized here is I put this problem on. This was one that you would have learned on Monday. Now, I will say this. It's good practice. And so I didn't realize I put one of these on here. But it's still good practice. We learned it on Monday, so it's not anything new, and it's good practice. It won't be on the extra credit point. This is actually coming from 1.3b. This is the lesson that you learn asynchronously on Monday. But it's good practice to see how it works. Now, again, so just going through, no distributive property, no combining like terms. It's a tie, though, attacking the weaker variable. So it doesn't matter which one you attack. So I'm going to attack this left negative 4x. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides. I'm going to add 4x to both sides here. Now, what happens? You're going to get something really weird. And so you're going to get 3 on this side, and you're going to get a negative 7 on this side. And you don't have any more x's, so that's just crazy. So does 3 equal negative 7? Well, no, 3 does not equal negative 7. So this is going to have no solution. This is going to have no solution. Now, what does that mean? This will not be on the little extra points opportunity, but it's sometimes when you have variables on both sides. We kind of talked about this on the asynchronous lesson on Monday. If you saw it, sometimes you get weird stuff that happens where the variables both cancel out, and then either you get a true statement or an untrue statement. If it's an untrue statement, you get no solution. If you got a true statement, let's say that this negative 7 was actually a 3, and so you got 3 equals 3, then you would say infinite solutions. So 3 is equal to 3. So then you would say infinite solutions, right? But in this case, let me just undo all that, because it's not a true, negative 3 does not equal negative 7, then it's no solution. Okay? So sorry if you struggle with that, but that's good practice, and we talked about it, so I don't feel that bad for you, actually. And it's good practice just doing what we do. All right, let's do this one. This one, I believe, will have a solution. Okay, so let's take a look. And this is warm-up number 3. Okay, now, I want you to go ahead and give this thing a try. And pause me now and solve for Z. Pause. Okay, welcome back. All right, so let's do this. So we're going through this, and the first thing I need to do is do distributive property, because I have parentheses. Distributive property is a good way to eat the parentheses and eliminate them, right? Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24, minus 6 times z. The reason I put a minus is came right down there from there. 6 times z, there's really a 1 in front of this z, so this is 6z. I'll make my z's with a slash through them, so it's obvious that it's a z and not a 2. And then I have a 2z, okay? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is, can I combine like terms after my distributive property? No. Okay, so now I'm going to attack the weaker variable because I've got variables on both sides. Well, which one is weaker? I have a negative 6z and a positive 2z. Which one is weaker? Well, yeah, a negative 6 is weaker than a 2. Negative numbers are always weaker than positive numbers. So I'm just simply going to add 6z's to both sides. Why am I adding? Because the opposite or inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 6z's to both sides. Now, when I do that, what do I have here? Well, I still have this 24, and it's a positive 24. Remember, the minus goes with the 6z, the negative 6z. It's not, this is really there's a positive sign that's just assumed out here. So this is positive 24, and then I just do the math here. I have 6z plus 2z, and that gives me 8z. And then I'm simply going to, now there's no addition or subtraction, so I'm simply going to just divide both sides by 8. And I just happen to know that 24 divided by 8 is 3. So I get z equals 3. And remember, if you're doing the extra points opportunity, you do not want to put z equals 3 in there. You just want to put the number 3 in the blank so you can get full credit. We are not going to go back and try to figure out if you got it right because you put a z on accident. We're not going to do that, okay? If it marks it wrong, that's because you weren't listening to directions in this video, right? Cool. All right, now the next one we're going to do is we're going to solve this equation for y. So this now is into the 1.4 lesson of the quiz. So this is the 1.4 lesson, and this is solving formulas. Now, I chose a lot of these solving for y problems. So this is when we want to solve for y, because there's 2 variables here. So solving for y is a really, really huge skill in math. And we do it all the time, and you're going to do it in high school all the time. And as long as you're doing an algebra-based class, which is pretty much every class except almost every class you're going to take from here on out is algebra based. And so you're going to want to solve for y a lot. And I'll let your teachers down the road explain why. And I think we actually later on this year will kind of figure out why that's so important. But right now, let's just get used to solving for y. Okay. So y is right here. Let's get y by itself. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of there's no distributive property, there's no combining like terms. So now I'm going to get rid of the variable that I don't want on that side. Well, the variable on this side is a minus x. And how do I get rid of a minus x? I add x to both sides. I add x to both sides. I add x to both sides. Okay, see that? All right, so when I do that, what do I get? Well, I still have the 5y on this side. These x's canceled out to 0. I don't need to say 0x because that's, and then I always like to put the x first and then the number. So this is x, and this is really a positive 10. So this is x plus 10. Okay? Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 5 next to the y. Now, that is multiplication. And what is the inverse operation of multiplication? Well, yeah, that's just division. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. I'm going to divide everything by 5. I'm going to divide everything by 5. Okay? So what do I get? I get y equals x over 5 plus 2. Because 10 divided by 5 is 2. And this is an answer we can get. Or there is another answer that you could put in here. You could say 1/5 x plus 2, because x over 5 is the same as 1/5 times x. Normally, we prefer this. And remember, guys, we probably don't want the y equals. All we want is the answer we just want the answer. We either want the x over 5 plus 2 or the 1/5 x plus 2. Okay? Sound good? What do we got next? Okay, your job right now is to solve this equation for y. So go ahead and pause, Mr. Roden, now. And I expect you to pause it and go ahead and give this a try on your own. Go. Pause. You better have paused it. Okay, welcome back. All right, so now let's take a look at this one right here. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to subtract. We want to get y by itself because that's the skill we always want. We want that y by itself. So let's go ahead and subtract 6 x's from both sides. Subtract 6 x's from both sides. So when I do that, I get, what do I get here? Well, I get negative 6. Let me write that in darker color here. I get negative 6x. Let me put negative 6x, hard to write on the left side, and then plus this 12 right here. And it's a plus 12. We always assume if there's no sign in front of it, it's a positive. It's a plus sign. And then what do we have on this right side over here? Well, yeah, we just have 3y. Okay, see that? All right, now, how do we get rid of 3 times y? We divide everything by 3. Put that in red here. My inverse operations in red. We're going to divide everything by 3. We're going to divide everything by 3. We're going to divide everything by 3. Okay, so now I'm just going to switch this around just because I like having y on the other side. So y equals, well, what's negative 6 divided by 3? A negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that's going to be negative 2x plus, what's 12 divided by 3? 12 divided by 3 is 4. So this is the answer right here, not with the y equals, but just like that. That's the answer you want to put into Schoology. Or if this was a Delta Math problem, this is what you would want to do. Do not put the y in, okay? Just put the negative 2x plus 4 in, okay? And normally, guys, yes, it's also equal to 4 minus 2x. We prefer, these are both the same, but we prefer this one because it's in what we call slope-intercept form. And we'll get to more of that later on this year. Okay, let's see what we got next. Oh, an error analysis. Let's see what the error is. All right, describe and correct the error. So I want you to look at this for a second, and I want you to describe and correct the error. All right, so hopefully pause me for a second. If you haven't paused me, go ahead and pause me and see if you can find the mistake. All right, so I'm going to recopy this really quick. So I think the key to this problem right here is knowing a very, very simple fact. It's knowing that there's really, I call it in my class, a spooky one right here. There's really a spooky one with that negative sign right there. See that? Well, why does that even matter? Well, when we're solving for y here, when we're solving for y, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this positive 2x. Well, Mr. Roden, that's a positive 2x? Well, yes, it's a positive 2x because there's really a plus sign in front of it. So how do we get rid of a positive 2x? Well, we just simply subtract 2x's from both sides. We subtract 2x's from both sides. Now, when I do that, what do I get? I still have the negative 1 times y. This is really a negative 1 times y. So this is negative 1 times y, and you just have to know there's a 1 there. No one's going to tell you it. You just have to know. So that's just a skill. You just have to be, being a good math student means knowing that between the negative sign and the y, there's really a spooky 1, an unwritten 1 right there, and that can really help us. And then we have the negative 2x plus, remember that's a plus sign, plus 5. We prefer to have the x come first. Now, we don't want that spooky negative 1 there, so how are we going to get rid of it? This is a spooky negative 1 times y, so we're going to divide everything by that negative 1. We're going to divide everything by negative 1. Okay? So what happens when we do that? Well, when we divide by a negative 1 on both sides, look what happens. These negative 1s cancel, so now I have y equals, what's a negative 2x divided by a negative 1? A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that should be 2x. What's positive 5 divided by negative 1? That's negative 5, and I'm going to write that just as a minus. Minus signs are negatives. So what was the mistake here? The mistake is they forgot to divide by a negative 1. They forgot to divide by a negative 1. That was the key. You had to know that little spooky negative 1 was there. If you didn't see that, then it got you the completely wrong answer. It gave you the exact opposite answer if you wanted. You actually want the 2 to be positive and the 5 to be negative in this one. Okay? All right. So you should be prepared for your extra points opportunity. And if you don't take the opportunity, that's on you. Okay? But this hopefully got you prepared to do the extra points opportunity. All right, so that's our warm-up. Now, let's go back and look at what we learned yesterday because some of you are struggling with this still, and I want to be a good teacher and help you out. Okay, so we want to find the missing angle here. Now, yesterday, we remember if we have a right angle symbol here, we know that it's 90 degrees. And so what's the word that describes these two angles? See how we have two angles here, guys? We actually have three angles here. We have this angle here, we have this angle here, and then we have the entire big angle. And what's the word that describes these two angles? Well, yeah, these are complementary angles. And why are they complementary? Because they're creating a right angle. Okay, any two angles that create a right angle are complementary. So now we can write an equation. We can say, okay, I can take angle A plus I can take the 57 degrees, and since it's complementary, I know it's equal to 90 degrees. And then I can just simply subtract 57 from both sides. Well, what's 90 minus 57? I think I can do that here. Let's see here. We'll borrow from the 9 and make it an 8. 10 minus 7 is 3. 8 minus 5 is, what's 8 minus? That's 3, right? So I'm getting 33 degrees. Hopefully I did my math correctly there. All right. I'm sure you'll email me and tell me if I didn't, but I think I did. All right, cool. So that's a complementary example, and that's me showing you and reviewing how to do that. And you will see a lot of these on your Delta Math 5.1. All right, so your job is to pause Mr. Roden, and I want to see an equation. I want to write an equation and solve an equation for this angle right here. Go ahead and pause. Hey, welcome back. So what's the word? This is another complementary example, right? Because we have a right angle. When two angles add up to 90 degrees, we call them complementary. So what's the equation we can write? Well, we could say take the A plus we can take the 41 degrees, and we know since they're complementary, we get 90. Complementary angles are always, their measures are always equal to 90 degrees. And then simply just subtract 41 from both sides. Okay? All right, so here's the hardest part is doing a little subtraction here, right? Well, you can't take 1 from 0, so we'll make this an 8. Then we'll say this is a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 8 minus 4 is 4. So we get A equals 49 degrees. And we're done. Okay. And what else do we have here? Okay, so now what we have is we have what we call a supplementary example. Okay, a supplementary example. Now, what does supplementary mean? Supplementary means two angles that add up to 180 degrees or in a straight line. Because remember, guys, if you have a straight line, we talked about this yesterday, when you have a straight line from here to here, that's 180 degrees, okay? A straight line is 180 degrees. So if you go from here all the way around to here, that's 180 degrees. So two angles that add up to 180 degrees, we call them supplementary. So what's the equation we could write for this problem? Well, we could say A plus 21 equals 180, right? Because they're supplementary. They're adding up to a straight line, a straight angle. And so now we just solve the equation. These are very easy equations to solve. We can just subtract 21 from both sides. So now I get A equals, what's 180 minus 21? Well, again, you can't take 1 from 0, so that's a 10. This becomes a 7. 10 minus 1 is 9. 7 minus 2 is 5. So we get 159 degrees, which would make sense because if you look at this angle right here, this is an obtuse angle, angle A right here. This angle right here is definitely very obtuse. It's kind of fat. And so this definitely is an obtuse angle. So good. All right, so your job is to pause, Mr. Roden, and your job is to figure out the measure of A. Go ahead and pause, write the equation, show all your work. You may have to show Mr. Sansoni this, so he might be checking on you. All right, so go ahead and do that, and I'm just going to sit here, and you better be paused. Hey, welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got. Well, again, guys, we have a supplementary example here. Why is it supplementary? Because if we go all the way around here, that is 180 degrees. That is 180 degrees. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and write our equation. We can take angle A plus the 60 degrees that they already told us about, and we know since they're supplementary that they add up to 180 degrees, okay? Awesome. So now we're just going to subtract 60 from both sides. All right, that should be really easy to do. So now we get A equals, let's see here, I think that's just 120 degrees, right? I think I can do that in my head. 0 and then 2 and 1. So that's A equals 120 degrees. Hopefully you got that. I bet a lot of you got that. So that you're done. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Okay, the last kind of angles we talked about, and for some reason this seems hard for kids, is our whole vertical angle stuff. Okay, now what are vertical angles? Vertical angles are angles that kind of point to each other. So if I look at this angle here, let me just do this right here. This angle right here, okay, see that angle right there, that 144? It's kind of an arrow, and it's going to point to this angle right here, this green angle. So these two angles, the red angle and the green angle, those two angles are vertical angles. Remember vertical angles? And what do we remember about vertical angles? What do we remember about vertical angles? Vertical angles are always congruent. They're always equal. Vertical angles are congruent, and therefore their measures are equal. So if I know that C is vertical to 144, right off the bat, I can say that C equals 144 degrees, okay? So I know that C equals 144 degrees because it's vertical to 144. Now, I'm not done because there's two, in these examples, there's two variables. There's the vertical angles, but then we also need to do the supplementary angles. So where's the supplementary angle? Well, the supplementary angles are right here. There's a straight line right there, right? And we know there's 180 degrees in that straight line. Well, what's the equation we would write to figure out that B angle? Well, we know that there is 144 for C plus B, which we don't know, but we know since it's supplementary that it's 180 degrees, okay? So then we just go ahead and subtract. We solve for B. We do our algebra solving equations. We go ahead and subtract 144 from both sides. Okay, can't take 4 from 0, so we make that a 7, we make that a 10, and 10 minus 4 is 6, and 7 minus 4 is 3, so that becomes B equals 36 degrees if my math is correct. All right, so your job, ladies and gentlemen, is to go ahead and find B and C on this example. So go ahead and pause, Mr. Roden, and do the look at that example or try to match what I just did there, and good luck. Hey, welcome back. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our vertical angle. Well, what is vertical to 107? Well, if we kind of just draw it here, and sometimes it's kind of hard to see verticals, but they kind of point to each other, right? See how they point to each other? See this 107 right here is vertical to this angle B right here, okay? So right away, I know that B is equal to 107 because it's vertical. It's vertical to 107. Vertical angles are always congruent or equal. Their measures are equal, always. It's the easiest thing in the world. They're just equal to each other. Okay, so now if I know that angle B equals 107 degrees, now I can figure out C because C is supplementary to B because there's a straight line. So see there's a straight angle right here from here to here. If you put those two angles together, you get 180 degrees. You get that straight angle right there. That means they're supplementary. So we can write an equation. We can say that C, which we don't know, plus the 107 degree we got from the vertical angle equals 180 because they are supplementary angles. And then I simply just go ahead and subtract 107 from both sides. Subtract 107 from both sides. All right, so when I do that, those cancel out. C equals, now let's do the math here. So can't take 7 from 0, so this becomes a 7. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 7 minus 0 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we get 73 degrees for C. All right. So hopefully this is helpful with the 5.1 Delta Math assignment. So if you're struggling with Delta Math, this is the way to go. So let's go back to what you need to do now. So what you need to do is, I'll go all the way back up to my agenda for today. So you need to do this. So right now, what I would do is I would get right on it and I would do the extra points opportunity for that test, okay? Now, after that, after you do your extra points opportunity, then I would finish 5.1. I'd finish Delta Math 5.1 and see if you can get a perfect grade on it, 100%. Okay, so those are the two things I would do, but I would do your extra points opportunity. Mr. Roden, I got 100% on that. Well, here's a chance to get some extra credit on a test, and those are big points. So even if you got 100%, here's a chance to get over like 120%. And I'll tell you what, you get 120% on a quiz, that's going to bump your grade up even more. So if you got a B, you're going to have maybe close to an A if you have that much, if you can do well on that. So extra point opportunity right here. Everyone take advantage of that, even if you have, and I want everyone to do this extra point opportunity because you never know what'll happen if you have a bad quiz score. This could maybe bring up, you miss a homework, in the future, you might have a bad quiz score. So this extra points opportunity is, I want everyone to do it right now. And once you do that, make sure you get Delta Math finished up. That's due. These are both due tonight by 11:59 p.m. So you got some work to do in math. Make sure that's all done. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving break. Don't eat too much turkey, but turkey is delicious, isn't it? So I definitely need to eat a lot of turkey. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.